what are the reasons that you have decided or are deciding to garden? So why garden in the first place? Why grow your own food? So I'll tell you a bit of a story. Our background is our first child was diagnosed with failure to thrive. She was 18 pounds for 18 months. And that made us question, because they said she had food allergies. And that made us question what our food was in the first place, and why, having come from America, coming from the Philippines, why American food made me fat, like gained 10 pounds in the first month or so. And my husband also had cholesterol issues. But then our second child also had allergies. And we were traveling across the country, and we saw like tons and tons of just corn and soy farms. And when we were traveling across the country to go, and we just stopped in the Midwest in like this tiny town in Ohio called Salina, and to see one of my best friends. And she said, "You can't come here right now." And I said, "Why not?" Because it was kind of out of our way. And she said, our lake is poisoned. You know, it's like, there's nothing to show you. And the lake was poisoned because all of the runoff from the farms was going down to that lake, and it was not in the news, and everything was hush hush, and she was a doctor. She is a doctor. She's also a hat maker. She's also a milliner. But people were coming into the office, to the clinic, saying, "Oh my goodness, my dog just fell into the lake," or they were coming in with neurological diseases, like the dog that went into the lake. She said, like, a dog just, like, a man came into the office because he suffered something, because he had to get the dog out of the lake, and the dog actually died the next day because the dog had jumped into the lake. And all these things. So it was really scary, like, and people were just denying what was going on, and where all the poison was coming from, where the algal blooms were coming from. And it's just like routine. Every year it happens. And then, so that was one incident that kind of like eye-opened us. Then we watched Food Inc. And we also went to the Philippines, where, lo and behold, my uncle had this whole chicken operation. And so I have seen the chicken operations, and they're in the Philippines, that feed the equivalent of McDonald's. Thanks for the hearts. The equivalent of McDonald's is Jollibee in the Philippines. And my uncle had like this long chicken coop. And he goes like, "This is really neat. You know, this is my retirement plan." He had several of them. He had maybe 30 chicken coops, you know, well-built, sturdy, basically cement. The chickens come in, and they come in as chicks every day. It's a 30-day cycle. Yep, it's a 30-day cycle, and the chicks grow up inside that chicken coop that's like cement long. If you can think of a hoop house that's cement long. And he said, yeah, so those chickens, they're there for 30 days, and after 30 days, they kill them. They stuff them with antibiotics, of course, to make them grow fat. And then after 30 days, they kill them, and then they clean the chicken coop for the next round of chicks to come in. So after that, we were just like, my husband had been growing a lot. Growing up, he grew his own stuff too, but not successfully. So every year he'd try with the tomatoes, and he wouldn't understand, like, there's something wrong. I'm doing, you buy all these seeds. And so we'd made a lot of mistakes, and we learned a lot on the way, until we stumbled on permaculture through a book, and one book led to another and another and another. And here's where we are, where we're trying to teach everyone, this is the way to go. This is the way that one should garden. So that's my story. Healthy. I do it for exercise. I put exercise because I don't do any other exercise at the moment, but I will. I'm going to do a 5K, I promise, in spring. But so far, it's my exercise. Yes. And then the third, so Kevin, thank you. Welcome. Thanks for following. If this is valuable, please share and spread the word, because we do have that webinar coming up next week, February 11th at permakits.com for more details. So one, I garden for health reasons. Healthy, exercise, sustainable and responsible thing to do. So as you can see, there's a whole range of bad things McDonald's is supporting aside from chickens, right? It's like human trafficking. So if I can grow my own food and teach others, then you teach the man to fish, and you don't. I have so many neighbors here. We live in a very suburban area. Our school that my kids go to is a Title I school. We mostly have blue collar jobs, and often they talk about insurance and health insurance, and I'm just like, I really want to help you grow your own food. I really want to teach you how to grow, and really want to teach you how to eat healthy. And sometimes they come from different backgrounds and different regional areas around the world. So they tell me, hey, you have a fig tree, because we have a fig tree inside our house. Those fig leaves, they're really good for when you have colds. And so she got a cold, or she got sick, and I was like, here are some fig leaves, go. Yes. Fourth, heritage. So I just came from the Virginia Biological Conference, and I periscoped about it a few days ago as well. And thanks for the hearts. The talk that really moved me the most was the talk on native seeds. And as I was saying in that periscope, there's a number of reasons to cultivate your own seeds, or to seed save, or to use heirloom seeds. One is native seeds will grow better in your area anyways and will produce better. They're already resilient to the pests because they've been growing natively in your land for so many years. They're resilient to the pests. But the third reason that I thought that's a really good reason to grow it was the heritage and all the heritage historical stories that were attached to seeds. In America and in Europe, in, let's say, even at the start of the 20th century, it was not uncommon. It was very common for a mother to pass on her wedding day as a wedding gift to her daughter, to give her a pack of seeds. And it was sort of like a rite of passage from mother to daughter, saying, now you are grown, now you can feed your family. Here is my gift. You can feed your family off of these seeds. And I thought that there were so many beautiful stories about this. And interestingly enough, collard greens are on the verge of extinction in terms of like the cultivation of the native collard greens, which are very, very prominent in the south of America. So collard greens right now, there are only a handful of women who are over 70 who are still stewarding their seeds, their collard green seeds, and planting them up to when they can be harvested again for their seeds, and then planting them again, like leaving one plant to flower so that it goes into seed, and harvesting the rest to eat collards. Because one, collard greens isn't it's very healthy, but it's not a very popular vegetable at the moment. And two, they're very old, so they have no other link, no other people to welcome indoors to pass on their seeds to, no generation to teach, here daughter, here are your seeds, go and plant this for your family. And so they were asking in the room, is there anybody here who would like to steward these collard green seeds? And I think that's a great reason to garden as well, to keep on that tradition of what my mother and my grandmother gave me these seeds, and they're from this land and this place. And you probably have stories of that as well in your own family trees. The fifth is it helps you to be self-reliant, and not just that, like to feed yourself, but to feed others. Permaculture is about earth care, people care, and fair share. And people care and fair share go hand in hand with, if you have enough to grow for yourself, you can give it to others, right? And finally, for me, and really this is the epitome of it all, is that in studying nature and just being in contact with nature, for me, it was just a really epiphanic, it was an epiphany for me to come to know by analogy, my maker through the complexity and simplicity of nature itself, of the seed, the production of the seed, the complexity of the soil, biology of it all. So once again, I am here to see whether if anybody else is here to share where they're growing their seeds. My company, or that's us, Permaculture Gardens. We're from permakits.com. We have a webinar on plant design if you are starting your planting if you're starting to start your seeds already and you're thinking about your garden, please hop on over and join us on February 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Any questions, any of your own thoughts on gardening? You guys might be doing your own things, cooking, driving, whatsoever. But I would love to hear from you. So if you don't type in, going to start a garden this year with the kids. Yes, I know. Okay. This is like the bane of every urban suburban gardener, right? The deer. So how do we solve that? I have had a friend who, depending on how big your property is, you can densely plant sacrificial plants, that bushes that would really deter them. First, sacrificial bushes that they might like, so that they would already be satisfied with that bush, or bushes like a deer fence that might deter them because they don't like them. Now, I have to say though, this is really hit and miss. You can try that. It won't grow this year. Yeah, you won't have all your bushes in a row this year to keep the deer off totally. But in 3 years, you will. So you might want to try that. The other is a fence. That's the best way. A fence to deter the deer, or a dog barking at them. I just saw that from Little Critter. I just read Little Critter to my kids, and they had a picture of the dog Blue barking at the deer that were eating their what else right now, and I've seen some plans for deer deterring plant guilds online. So that's very interesting. We'd have to answer that question because I get that all the time. Thank you so much, Kevin, for asking that, because that gives me like a topic for a webinar or a scope someday that I have to research. Yes, that's a good idea. They say my permaculture teacher, Wayne Wiseman, he lives out though in Illinois, and he said like, oh, there's no other way. I was going to market and they ate all the things I was going to bring to market to sell. So I had to put a fence up, and we have a fence up luckily in our small yard. Yeah, that's true. All right. Anything else here? So I will see you guys the next time. Thank you. It's been my pleasure.